Hello friends, this is Kourosh. I would like to tell you a story about our amazing universe. My friend Pietro accompanies me in this story. Pietro and I meet and play together some days. A few days ago, I suggested Pietro to have an imaginary time travel. At first, it was unbelievable to him, but I asked him to grab my hand. Then we could fly our minds together just like we were on a spaceship that works like a time machine. We were so excited because it was our first trip without our parents. I took Pietro 13.8 billion years in the past. Everywhere was dark, but suddenly a big explosion occurred that made everywhere bright. Later on, the elements that formed the Big Bang came toward us and started talking. They introduced themselves as lithium and beryllium. They explained the Big Bang theory and the plans ahead, and they said that the Big Bang would give rise to our universe. Around 300,000 years after the Big Bang, atoms started to form. Then about 200 to 600 million years later, stars and galaxies started to appear. They also had some wonderful news about the solar system. They told us that the solar system we are supposed to live in will emerge in about 9 billion years. Lithium reached into her bag, pulled out a large piece of parchment paper, then opened it for us. Wow, what a beautiful picture! She told us this is a map of the universe and the multiverse that are going to exist in the future. The size of observable universe is 93 billion light years. Pietro whispered in my ear, "What does she mean by light year?" I explained to him that a light year is the distance that the light travels in a vacuum in 1 year. At that time, Beryllium put his index finger on his mouth to tell us to be quiet and listen. Lithium continued to give us more information by saying that the entire universe is 150 septillion times bigger than the observable universe. The observable universe includes galaxies, nebulas, stars, planets, black holes, and other objects that I will explain in the following pages. Now, if you have any question, I will be happy to answer it. When Lithium asked any questions or comments, I remembered reading about the multiverse and the metaverse somewhere. When I asked about them, Lithium looked at me excitedly and said, it seems that you know a lot about the universe. Well, I have to tell you that a group of universes is called a multiverse, and a group of multiverses is called a metaverse. There were still 2 more questions that Lithium and Beryllium had no answer to them. Question 1. Was there anything before the Big Bang? Question 2. What caused the Big Bang to happen? After this educational conversation, Pietro and I said goodbye to Lithium and Beryllium to board our imaginary time machine in order to reach the world created after the Big Bang. I knew that galaxy had formed from large nebulas, so I asked Pietro to tell me whenever he saw a large cloud to stop the time machine. It wasn't long before Pietro shouted, "Hold the time machine, Kourosh! I saw a big cloud!" I quickly stopped the time machine and watched the scene with Pietro. I do not know how long we were there, but we saw some interesting things up close. Large clouds of gas and dust appeared in front of us, and many stars and galaxies were forming inside it. The galaxies looked larger than the nebulas, while the stars looked smaller than the nebulas. There were billions of galaxies in the universe. Each of them has a black hole in the center. Let me tell you the names of some existing galaxies that I know about. Those galaxies are the Sombrero Galaxy, Tadpole Galaxy, Andromeda Galaxy, IC 1101, the Milky Way Galaxy, etc. The Milky Way Galaxy is home galaxy that contains our solar system. Also, it takes 100,000 light years to cross it width. In addition, scientists predict that the Andromeda Galaxy will merge with the Milky Way Galaxy in about 4 billion years. IC 1101 is the largest galaxy in the observable universe, which has been discovered so far. It has trillions of stars inside it. The matter that mostly caught Pietro's attention was the black holes. He was trying to look inside them, but I told him that black holes were dead stars that can suck in almost everything. Smaller black holes are more powerful than larger ones. Therefore, black holes are completely dark and nothing can escape through gravity. Pietro wanted to know what would happen if two black holes collide. The answer is that they will build a giant black hole or fight until one wins. Each of them has an equal chance to win. The giant stars are one of the masses made inside nebulas. The interesting fact about the different colors of these stars is that the stars are burning on different colors, depending on different contents of elements that they are made of. Luckily, I was familiar with some of these stars and introduced them to Pietro. Those are Ui Scuti, Pollux, Sirius A, Arcturus, Antares, Pistol Star, Rigel, and etc. Although leaving that beautiful view was not so easy, but we decided to continue our journey. Solar system was a big part of the Milky Way galaxy where we are living in. The star in the center of the solar system is the Sun, and 8 planets and 5 dwarf planets orbit around the Sun. It was very interesting to me and Pietro that unlike the other stars, Sun is the only star that is visible in the morning and afternoon. It is 1.3 million times bigger than the Earth. A machine called the Hadron Collider can generate higher temperatures than the surface of the Sun. There are hydrogen and helium atoms in the Sun. It takes 8 minutes and 16 seconds for light to reach the Earth from our Sun. The Earth's core is as hot as the surface of the Sun. Mercury is the closest planet orbiting the Sun, as well as the smallest planet in our solar system. It takes 88 days for Mercury to orbit the Sun. Mercury has no moon because it is too small to have a moon. Although Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, it is not the hottest planet. However, it is gray and cold at night and hot during the day. Mercury has many craters that caught our attention. Pietro asked me, Kourosh, how do you think these craters were made? I told him that they represent the impact of meteors on planets. The second planet in our solar system is Venus, which is about the size of Earth. It takes 255 days for Venus to orbit the Sun. The most interesting fact is that the speed of rotation around itself is less than the speed of its orbiting around the Sun, meaning that the length of a day on Venus is more than a year on Earth. Pietro said, Oh, Kourosh, it seems that Venus does not have any moon. Look, how hot and scorching it is. I agreed that Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system because it has been surrounded by clouds which trap the Sun's heat. Especially at night, it is much warmer. Nevertheless, scientists have predicted that there is a variety of life throughout the clouds of Venus. We felt good when we passed Venus because we were getting closer to our beautiful home, Earth. It seems much more beautiful when you look from afar. An amazing combination of green and blue because 70% of the Earth is made of water and 30% is made up of land. Our only beautiful moon, which orbits the Earth once every 30 days, was also seen from afar. It takes 24 hours for Earth to turn around itself and approximately 365 days to revolve around the Sun. As I explained earlier, Earth is 150 million kilometers away from the Sun, which is about 8 light minutes. Because we wanted to see the rest of the planets in our solar system up close, we did not land on Earth. Our next destination was Mars. Mars is the 4th planet from the Sun, which was my favorite planet. We know it as the red planet. It is almost half the size of the Earth. Mars has 2 moons called Phobos and Deimos. There is also a volcano called Olympus Mons that is higher than Mount Everest, the highest mountain on Earth. In fact, it is the highest volcano in the solar system. After Mars, we arrived in a belt-shaped area that separates the Sun and the 4 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, from the rest of the solar system, and it's called Asteroid Belt. There are many rocks and meteorites in this belt. The largest asteroid and the smallest dwarf planet in the solar system, called Ceres, are inside this belt. The asteroid belt is under the gravity of the Sun. It was so hard to cross this busy belt, and at any moment a free meteor could hit us. We were very worried about that, but we passed it and took a deep breath. A giant planet was in front of us. In fact, it is the largest planet in the solar system that 1,300 Earths can fit inside it. This is Jupiter. Jupiter is still bigger than all the planets in our solar system, even if they all merge. In fact, it is a gas giant that is made up of hydrogen and helium. Jupiter has a storm called the Great Red Spot, which is 3 times bigger than Earth, but is getting smaller. Jupiter has 79 moons. The 4 main ones are Ganymede, Callisto, Europa, and Io. Our 6th stop is Saturn. Saturn is the 2nd largest planet in the solar system. It is a gas giant that is made of about 75% hydrogen and the rest 25% is helium. Pietro said, "Oh, Kourosh, how light this planet looks." I nodded and said, "Pietro, do you know that Saturn is so light it can float in water? By the way, Saturn is the furthest planet that can be seen from Earth without a telescope. Do you see that beautiful ring around it? This ring is made up of ice, rock, and dust. We crossed Saturn and arrived at Uranus. Suddenly, we felt very cold because Uranus is the coldest planet in the solar system. It also has a vertical ring around it in a light blue color, which makes it a very beautiful look. Similar to Jupiter and Saturn, it is a giant made up of ice, hydrogen, and helium gases, but its core is solid rock. Pietro's teeth and mine were chattering because of the cold, so we decided to speed up and leave there more quickly. As we hugged each other, we arrived at the last planet in our solar system. Yes, Neptune is the furthest planet from the Sun, and it takes about 165 years to orbit the Sun. Neptune has 13 moons, the largest of which is called Triton. Neptune is dark blue, unlike Uranus, which is light blue. There is a dark storm on Neptune, similar to what we saw in Jupiter, and called the Great Red Spot. On Neptune, this big storm is called the Great Dark Spot. After we passed Neptune, we noticed small objects formerly known as dwarf planets. There are more than 30 dwarf planets in our solar system, 5 of the largest of which are Eris, Pluto, Ceres, seen in the asteroid belt, Haumea, and Makemake. Until 2006, Pluto was known as a planet. Pluto has 5 moons, the largest of which is Charon. The farthest part of our solar system was similar to the asteroid belt that surrounded the solar system, but it is about 20 times wider. This ring is called the Kuiper belt, and it is made up of ice, dust, dwarf planets, and comets. The Kuiper belt is a colder version of the asteroid belt. Eris, Haumea, Makemake, and Pluto are the dwarf planets in the Kuiper belt, and out of the 4 of them, Eris is the largest one. While the smallest dwarf planet is Ceres, which is the largest object in the asteroid belt, Pietro and I were watching and talking about the wonders of the universe when we suddenly felt that someone was shaking us. She was saying, "Pietro, Kourosh, wake up! You came to play, so why did you fall asleep?" Yes, it was my mother's voice that woke us up from our long and wonderful sleep.